Okay, so hey everyone, good evening. My name is Larissa Hahn. I am a Plexus Gold Ambassador and have been using Plexus for just over a year, have been selling Plexus for just under a year. So this time last year is about when I started building my business and sharing the products with people in a way that got them really excited to try them. And the reason that happened was because I was getting amazing results and I couldn't shut up about it. And so lo and behold, people wanted to know how I was getting these great results. So I'm going to talk to you guys today a little bit about the new products. Excuse me, if you can't be quiet, then you're going to have to be sweetheart, okay? Okay, so we just got back from convention. Plexus did their 2017 convention in Las Vegas last week, and at that convention they revealed two new products, actually one new product and one reformulated product. And so we're going to talk about how that kind of changes Plexus and not what we're about, but how we achieve maximum results. So we're going to be going over 5 products tonight, and I know that sounds like a lot, but you'll see when we're through how they really do work synergistically, right? They play off of each other and they work better together than by themselves. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed like you have to do all 5 products right out the gate, but I want you to know that this is kind of the ideal way to use these particular products. Plexus does have a product line of 18 different products, which is actually still really manageable. They all complement each other. They're all natural products. This is not medication. These are health supplements. This is not meal replacement. These are health supplements to supplement an already healthy lifestyle. So this is about getting healthy the maximum possible way for you to get healthy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share the screen with you. I built a little presentation. So let's see. How do we start this thing? Present. Okay, let's see how this works. Okay, here we go. So that's just our landing page. So real quick disclaimer before we get started, Plexus does not claim to cure, treat, prevent, or diagnose any disease or disorder. Today you are going to hear testimonials, my testimonial, and my experience from independent Plexus ambassadors, this independent Plexus ambassador, and we always recommend consulting with your physician. So this is not to knock Western medicine or say that there's no place for it. Are there flaws? Yes, I do think so. But if you're having a heart attack, please go to the hospital. Don't try to take in Plexus and be like, oh, well, Larissa said it was really helpful. Yeah, please go to the hospital. Or if you have any major physical issues, always consult with your physician. And at the end of the day, you are in charge of your body. And I think that's what's been the most empowering thing for me, is to feel as though I am in charge and I am in control of my body. And I get to call the shots now because I have power over my body. So this is my before and after, just so you guys can kind of see. It's a terrible picture. My before picture I don't know that it necessarily does justice, but that was December of 2015. This was way pre-Plexus. I had tasted the pink drink and I did nothing with it. I knew I wanted to start doing Plexus, but I wasn't ready yet. It wouldn't be until 5 months later that I was actually ready. So I started using Plexus in April of last year. And once I started really making some lifestyle changes, Plexus kicked in big time. And this was 9 months after this picture had been taken. This is not even a year of using it. It was April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So it's about 6 months of using Plexus. You can see I have a neck again. That means inflammation and bloating went way down. I was really sick. I had major intestinal issues and I was gaining weight like crazy. And I was on that awful yo-yo dieting cycle, and it was very frustrating, and that had been a lifelong frustration. Once I started using Plexus, it balanced me out, and I stopped gaining weight. I didn't necessarily lose weight, but I did stop gaining weight, and to me, that was huge. And thank you. Okay, good. Okay, so moving forward, Plexus is big on health, okay? So we can use this acronym really easily, BIG. It stands for blood sugar inflammation, and gut health. And those are the three major things that Plexus focuses on to get overall health in check. So blood sugar, right? Whether you're a diabetic or not, you deal with blood sugar issues. Now, 1 out of 3 Americans are diabetic. And I'm sorry, that's incorrect. 1 out of 3 Americans are pre-diabetic. And 9 out of 10 of those people don't know it. So there is a huge issue, and you might not even know that you are pre-diabetic. So whether or not you are, there's a reason that line is wrapped around Starbucks, okay? People are crashing at 11 a.m., they're crashing at 2 p.m., 3 p.m. We're always crashing, like, give me candy, give me an energy drink, give me some coffee, give me something to get me back up here. And so Plexus is about balancing that blood sugar out. The second, inflammation, is joint pain, swelling, things like that. If your body is inflamed, your body will create disease. And you may not realize that. I'm going to share with you guys a couple of articles just in the comments of this in the chat of this meeting, so that you guys can read a little bit more about inflammation. We'll talk a little bit about it. I'm trying to get through this quickly, and there's just so much information. And then gut health, and that is the biggest one of all. If you have good gut health, your inflammation is going to be low, and your blood sugars are going to be balanced. So that is the end game for all of this, is to have good quality gut health. So the way that we, one of the things, so Plexus just basically rebranded the company. They changed all the packaging. They reformulated a couple of the products. Everything seems new and exciting and pretty. The biggest thing that we took away from convention this year is kind of this buzzword of microbiome, and specifically the human microbiome. So I am not a scientist. I am not a doctor. I will never claim to be either of those things. I failed high school biology, okay? True story. I had to repeat it my senior year because freshman year, last semester, I failed biology. But as an adult, I've come to appreciate studying, and I've come to appreciate research. So all I am is an independent Plexus ambassador with a search engine, okay? I Google and I read. And so what I put together for you guys today is information that I recently extracted from the internet. This video that we're about to go over and watch is a third-party, unbiased, has nothing to do with Plexus, but I thought it was a brief and concise explanation of what exactly the human microbiome is. And so I'm going to let this play, and then we'll discuss it a little bit further. Okay, so hopefully the sound picks up okay for you guys.
Your body is made up of many things, like the cell, an integral building block of what makes you, well, you. Except that for every single cell in your body, there are roughly 10 more microscopic organisms that are essential to your life. Seriously, there's a unique collage of 100 trillion microorganisms living on and in you right now, which you've picked up through your mouth, ears, and other access points throughout your life. Meaning, what you consider you is only a tiny fraction of the things that truly make you up. We call this the microbiome, and these little critters contain around 22 million genes of their own DNA, which not only allow them to survive, but control hundreds of processes in your body. They help digest your food, they keep your immune system healthy, and they even regulate hunger and make you feel full. Feeling stressed? They produce chemicals for that too. In fact, mice raised in sterile environments which don't pick up these microorganisms are less effective at responding to stress stimuli than normal mice. Ever heard of a poop transplant? It's a real thing. Some diseases are actually caused by a microbiome which lacks diversity, making the individual susceptible to infections. And it's been found that transplanting the cultures from a healthy person's poo to a sick person's gut can treat these diseases more effectively than any antibiotics. Scientists have even found that when obese mice are transplanted with the microbiome of lean mice, they astonishingly lose weight much more effectively, even when their diet is kept the same. These organisms are so significant and so much a part of you that in the future, doctors may actually diagnose your microbiome instead of you. But here's the crazy part. Even though your own cells represent a small proportion of you, you can actually change the other 90%. Unlike the genetics passed down from your parents, everything you eat actually affects the microbiome. Foods which contain pre- and probiotics, for example, introduce new and healthy bacteria which can help the old ones thrive. On the other hand, those chicken nuggets you're eating or other processed foods are treated with chemicals to kill bad bacteria, which has the unfortunate side effect of killing some of your good bacteria too. In fact, the Western world has much less diversity in their microbiomes than other cultures who eat primarily whole foods. This is because of a diet higher in processed food, along with the use of antibacterial soap and antibiotics. It may also explain why there are much higher incidences of allergies and autoimmune diseases in Western cultures. So, while you may be having an existential crisis over who or what you really are, just remember that you are in control of this superorganism of cells. And if you treat your microscopic life partners well with a good diet, they'll take care of you. Or at least the 10% of you that's actually you. Special thanks to Little Bits for supporting this episode.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, so hopefully that made sense to you guys. What we're going to do right now is just kind of review some of the points that were made in that video. So first thing is there is a 1 to 10 ratio of human cells, your own person cells, to the microbiome that is your body. The microbes that make up your microbiome, okay? So that's really about the bacteria that lives on your body and in your body. It outnumbers our cells 10 to 1. So 10% of us is us, and then 90% of us is them. And if you are 90% bacteria, the bacteria that you have living in your body is huge and makes a big, big difference. So there's 100 trillion microorganisms that make up our microbiome. And one of the things that he mentioned is diversity. So in addition to whether it's good bacteria or bad bacteria, it's also important to have a lot of different good bacteria. So it's not just like, oh, we have one type of bacteria. That's still going to keep you sick. You want a diverse microbiome. Oops, sorry. It's picked up in many ways. So we pick up bacteria in many, many ways throughout the course of our life. This is one of the reasons why people are so big on vaginal birth, right? Because the baby passes through the birth canal and picks up pieces of our microbiome. But if we are sick, they're also going to get some of our bad bacteria, and that's why we're seeing kids who are sicker at an earlier age and childhood obesity and different things like that, is because they're getting the good bacteria from us, but they're also getting the bad bacteria. But it is very important. I'm not saying don't do that. Obviously, that is the best possible way, if that's possible to do for you, breastfeeding and those types of things. But you do want to think about how your microbiome actually does affect your children, and they can inherit our gut health. And these cells live inside of us, they live inside our gut. And that's where we get the gut health for Plexus. So this is all tied together. This is still the same company. We're still working on the same things, but we now have an extra piece to that puzzle. So 22 million genes that control hundreds of human processes, okay? So with the gut, they call that the second brain. Our gut is our second brain. And if you think about it, if someone who is paralyzed and has had their spinal cord, say, severed from their brain, or whatever reason, their brain is no longer able to communicate with the rest of their body, they have no hand motion, no ability to use their legs, their body still functions. Their stomach still works, right? Their digestive system still works. Things are still happening inside of their body, even though this brain here can no longer control their motor function. So there's that to be said for the second brain. It helps us digest food. So if you don't have a diverse microbiome, digesting food becomes more challenging. You get constipated, you get backed up, right? I've had 2 friends who have been hospitalized because they can't poop. I mean, seriously, it's that severe. So if you're not pooping every single day, at least 2 to 3 times, you've got stuff inside of you. Now, if you're pooping more than 2 to 3 times, that's a whole other mess. But you want to be pooping healthy every 2 to 3 times every single day. You don't want to miss a day. You don't want to miss 2 days. That's not normal, and that is not healthy. It keeps your immune system healthy, okay? So one of the things that he talked about was like an increase in our country, or the Western world, so to speak, in allergies and in autoimmune disease, right? So plexus, balancing blood sugars, pre-diabetes, those are all autoimmune. Diabetes is an autoimmune issue. We have a Hashimoto's hypothyroidism, or any thyroid issue is an autoimmune issue. Crohn's disease, lupus, colitis, all of those things, autoimmune diseases. And regulates hunger and fullness. So it's like, oh, I can eat until I'm stuffed, or I never get full, or I always feel hungry, or whatever it is, your microbiome is off. And stress and anxiety. Okay, so I want to talk about that again as it pertains to the second brain. A lot of times people perceive stress and anxiety to be a mental health issue, mental health up here. Half the time, it is not up here. It is in here. It is your an imbalance of your microbes, an imbalance of the bacteria that is living in and on your body. It's off, and so you're off. These are just some symptoms of poor gut health. I want to pull up my notes really quick. Sorry. You guys aren't supposed to see these. But go ahead and read through some of those things. These are just a few symptoms of poor gut health, or also known as intestinal dysbiosis. So dysbiosis means there's an imbalance in your bacteria. It's off. So there's that. So the modern Western world, like the way that we live, it just has a detrimental impact on the microflora and gastrointestinal tract. Antibiotics, okay? If we have probiotics, we have antibiotics. Now, I'm not saying don't take antibiotics if the doctor's prescribed it for you and you feel like this is the only thing that's going to work for me. I need to take these antibiotics. The problem is we take so many antibiotics and we never replenish the bacteria that's being killed off, because it's killing off all the bacteria. It's killing off the bad stuff. It's killing off the good stuff too. So if we're not replenishing it with a good probiotic, then we are setting ourselves up to fail, and we're just going to repeat and need those antibiotics again, because the bad bacteria is going to take over. It's just stronger and it's more aggressive, and it lives off of the sugar and all that garbage that we put into our body. So antibiotics, psychological and physical stress can also cause it. So that stress and anxiety factor, it's a sick cycle. It's going to make it worse for you to be all stressed out. It's stress, begets more stress. And dietary components, right? So too much sugar, alcohol. You guys, alcohol is fermented sugar. And, we're a society that drinks and we celebrate and we go out and, we have a lot of alcohol floating around here. Cooking on Teflon, things like that. That's poison that we're putting into our body potentially. You scratch it with a fork for sure. Fat meats, red meats, gluten. All of these things can be contributing factors to increasing the bad bacteria. They feed on it. And it also can contribute to inflammation. So what if this could change everything? That's one of the slogans that Plexus uses, and it is a very good question. And they ask this question because for many, many, many of us, it has changed everything. I can honestly say it's changed everything for me. My health, when you don't have your health, you don't have much. And it's something that we sit and we say, well, I guess I'm just going to have to live with this now. I guess this is just the way that it is. And, I guess this is just life. But what if it doesn't have to be that way? What if you don't have to be laid out in back pain? What if you don't have to, do the yo-yo dieting anymore? What if you don't have to be constipated or hospitalized because you can't get the poop out? What if you don't have to go to the toilet 8 times a day, which was more my issue? It really was a game changer. I would be in the middle of dinner and I'd have to excuse myself because, I put something in my mouth and it's coming out the other end now. It was seriously that bad. So I used the graphic of the garden because that's kind of how we're going to use this. It's a little bit of an analogy for these 5 products. We want to weed, seed, feed, and protect, just like you would your garden. So think of your body as this garden that's harvesting, cultivating, and growing things, producing things. So you're going to start by weeding your garden. And when you're weeding the garden, that is your body, you want to first start by changing your diet. Okay, guys, you cannot outplexus your fork. This is not magic. These are not magic pills that are like, oh, I'm going to take these and suddenly I'm skinny. There is work that needs to be done. Okay, and any company who's trying to sell you something that tells you otherwise is lying to you. If you don't change something in your diet to help change your overall body health, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but they're selling you garbage. They're either selling you garbage or they're selling you poison. They're selling you something dangerous. And I took that fen and I took phentermine. That stuff is dangerous. That stuff will give you a heart attack. Okay, it's speed in a capsule. You don't want to do speed. You just don't. It'll kill you. So the ProBio 5 helps with intestinal yeast balance. So this previously had been kind of like our go-to probiotic, and it is still a good probiotic. But it is also an excellent way to break down food that has been built up in your body and help it to kind of finish digesting and come on out, because you don't want old food backed up in there. I mean, you know what happens if food sits out for a week, right? It's going to get rotten, it's going to get moldy, it's going to be sick food. So you don't want that sitting in your body, you want it out. So the digestive enzyme blend is crucial in the ProBio 5. Additionally, ProBio 5 has an enzyme in it called, I believe it's pronounced chitosanase. It could be chitosanase, but I believe it's chitosanase. And the reason I want to address that particular one is because it destroys candida and yeast, which are basically the same thing. So for those of you who've never heard of candida overgrowth or yeast overgrowth, that is when you've got too much bacteria, bad bacteria that would otherwise help break down your food, and now you've got yeast overgrowth and it's going to cause other issues for you. Now the biggest issue with yeast and candida is that it doesn't die easily. And it multiplies and is very aggressive. So the only way previously that I had heard of was to starve it out. And you had to do this extreme diet of, like, you couldn't even have fruit because fruit has too much sugar. Absolutely no bread or carbohydrates. That converts to sugar. Anything, it was like maybe meat, you can have legumes, like no beans. So when I was having my intestinal issues, that was the only option that was ever presented to me, and I just didn't, like, I could never really do it because it was so hard and it took so much discipline. So yes, do you need to change diet? Yes. Do you need to do extreme dieting? No, you don't. So what I found was once I took the ProBio 5, it cleared up like that, and I'm not lying, it was seriously a week and I was back to normal, and it was like nice, healthy looking stuff. And I was like, well, why is this working so well? So I looked it up, and it has chitosanase, which produces lactic acid. Lactic acid can penetrate candida. Candida is wrapped in something hard and crunchy called chitin. And you may have heard of chitin. It's why shellfish like shrimp has that hard outer shell that's made with chitin, and why you step on a cockroach and it's crunchy, their exoskeleton is made of chitin. So when that's wrapped around something like yeast, it's impenetrable. Lactic acid can penetrate it, and then it kills it off. So that's why ProBio 5 is so great to help with intestinal yeast balance. Then there's the BioCleanse. And the BioCleanse helps cleanse the GI tract and literally flushes out harmful microbes. So if you're cleaning the toilet with the ProBio 5, you're flushing that toilet with the BioCleanse. And it can help with constipation, and it will just help kind of move things along. Some people, when they first start it, they might feel like it's a little excessive, but it usually balances itself out. And if you don't have major intestinal issues, BioCleanse is pretty safe to use. If you have major intestinal issues, I know I have an ambassador who she just can't use it. It causes more pain, and she has major intestinal issues, but she loves the ProBio 5 and it works really well for her. So then after you weed, you're going to seed your garden. This is our newest product. This is Vital Biome. I adore Vital Biome. I have to say it's my new favorite product. It's hard to choose a favorite product. I heard somebody once say, like, it's like saying who's your favorite kid? Like, I can't choose my favorite, but I do love the Vital Biome. It replenishes good bacteria. It rebalances the gut microbiome. It inhibits growth of bad bacteria and is clinically proven. Plexus did an independent study outside of Plexus. This isn't a Plexus doctor saying, hey, this is, what Vital Biome did. Clinically proven outside of Plexus to help reduce stress and anxiety. So Vital Biome is our super duper probiotic. It is supercharged. I would not recommend using Vital Biome without the Probio 5 personally, especially if you're just starting to do Plexus. They are sister products. They are meant to be used together. The Probio 5 is a great probiotic, but this is power packed. It's one tiny little pill. You only take one. You take it on an empty stomach. Some of the pluses about it, as far as or some of the things that you might want to know about it, it needs to be stored at 70 degrees or less. So it is freeze dried. I don't particularly care for the probiotics that are liquid in liquid form and have to be always at 45 degrees or less. To me, there's too much risk during transportation or being on on the shelves in the refrigerators at the health stores or whatever. If something happens, the power goes out, whatever, that stuff's wiped out. So I love that this is freeze dried and can be kept at up to 70 degrees. At Plexus, my understanding is they do keep it in the freezer. And the inside of the bottle is specially designed to be moisture wicking. There's a liner inside you'll see that helps keep it from having moisture inside the bottle. So those are some of the cool things about Vital Biome. It does have 8 probiotics and 20 billion CFUs. And I wanted to share with you guys really quick some notes. Good sex. I don't know if you good sex. I have an article I'm going to share in the chat once I am able to sort of stop screen sharing with you guys. But this is an article that talks about sex in the microbiome. So I'm going to say, who is all in here before I get super duper personal? I have no filter and I am an open book, so I tend to talk about way too much, but I have to share with you guys about 9 years ago, I had a gastric sleeve surgery. It's not to be confused with the gastric bypass surgery. Gastric sleeve is different than gastric bypass. With the gastric sleeve, one of the differences is they give you more of a tube sock of a stomach, so you have more room. They're not bypassing any of your intestine like the gastric bypass does, hence bypass. But what they do for some reason with this particular surgery is they will remove your stomach from your body versus gastric bypass. They leave your stomach still inside, but they just bypass, the intestine and make you a teeny tiny stomach. So what I noticed immediately after that surgery was I no longer enjoyed sex. And it was very weird to me. And I once went to one of the groups and talked to the group about, the results, because I lost 110 pounds. I felt, I was happy with what was happening outside my body, but I was really disappointed with what was happening inside my body because I just couldn't get there anymore. I wasn't that interested in, I was still interested because that hadn't waned yet. I still was hanging on to the memory of good sex, but I didn't have it anymore. And so it got to a point in my marriage where I just stopped wanting it. I could take it or leave it. It was whatever. And it was, it's been very hard for us. It's been a sensitive area in our marriage because I don't want to have sex every day or even every other day. If we, maybe do once a week or something, then okay, we're doing all right. But on my end, it's fine, but it's not oh, this is, the greatest. And it had been previously. So with that being said, I've been taking the Vital Biome for just over a week, you guys. And these clinical proven studies, those are over the course of 30 days. So there is a very small window to show that this actually works pretty quickly. I just have to say, it's been great. It's been great. And I will just leave it at that. It's been great. Kind of like old times. And I'm getting older, and I know things change as we get older, but hallelujah, hallelujah, praise Jesus. thank you, Lord in heaven, for some Vital Biome. I'm glad I found it because I was, again, I guess this is just the way that it is now, right? But it didn't have to be that way. Okay. So once you seed your garden, you're going to want to feed your garden. And this is where the Slim kind of comes in. So they recently reformulated the Slim. It still has the same benefits as far as balancing out your blood sugars. The ingredients are primarily the same. I know they took out some of the sweeteners, but other than that, it stayed the same. They changed the flavor. It's now a watermelon, raspberry, and lemon flavor, that sort of citrusy flavor. It's not nearly as sweet, and I enjoy it as much as I did the previous one. I mean, the old one will always be a fave, but it's totally doable. I don't think it's, I think it's great. I think it's great. And one of the beautiful things about it is that they added a prebiotic. So if, you have a probiotic, prebiotics are the food to increase the potency of those probiotics. So between the Probio 5 and the Vital Biome, they're getting lots of yummy, healthy food from the Slim to increase their ability and success. Some of the strains even 250 to 350%. Additionally, the new Slim and that prebiotic increases what something's called Akkermansia in your body. I didn't put that on the slide, but Akkermansia is a bacteria directly connected to weight loss. And so it increases that bacteria in your body to help you lose weight easier. Additionally, sorry, I skipped over inflammation. It has anti-inflammatories. If you guys look up, there's Garcinia cambogia, there's alpha-lipoic acid, and there's some chromium in there. So it's just a few ingredients. Calories, 5 calories. So this is not a meal replacement. Plexus does not do meal replacements. And it's also, with the Akkermansia increase, it's clinically proven to help with weight loss. And so here are some the results from the clinical studies. So this is just Slim alone, helped over the course of 8 weeks. They're down 5.4 pounds with the placebo 3.1. Now, when you go triplex, and this is what I'm talking about, synergistic, they work better together. These people didn't change anything in their diet. They didn't do anything different. They lost 5.4 without any other thing but the Slim. When they did the triplex, which the triplex is the Slim and those first two products I told you about, the Probio 5 and the BioCleanse, those 3 products, right? That's why we call it three little fingers, triplex. Those that weight loss went up to 7.2 pounds. So very interesting clinical study. Then lastly, you're going to want to protect your garden. And that's where the X Factor Plus comes in. So we still have X Factor, but we now have X Factor Plus. And here's what I really like about X Factor Plus, okay? X Factor Plus is a complete multivitamin. X Factor has always been a great vitamin. They're both formulated with aloe, and aloe helps with absorption. So typically when you take a multivitamin, say a Centrum or whatever it is that you're getting off of the store shelves, which by the way, I recently read an article about Walmart, Target, GNC, you guys, GNC, who's like an authority in supplementation, and one other retail outlet. The supplements that are on those shelves, the vast majority of them are not what they say they are. And so I love that X Factor Plus is coming from a company that I know and trust, and they're putting good stuff in it, and I'm, living, breathing proof. But this still has aloe. So the old X Factor, it didn't have as many minerals. So they've added some minerals into here. There's calcium and all kinds of good stuff, B complexes, and it's very complete. And you can see this, all of these products are now available at the website. So if you are not an ambassador, please refer to your ambassador's website. But one of the great things about this multivitamin, it reduces harmful compounds, and it has polyphenols, which are energy sustainers. Let me pull up my notes really quick because I made some notes with that. So with the polyphenols, oh shoot. Sorry, I'm trying to see here. They feed the mitochondria in the gut. And so again, this is all gut. This is all about the microbiome, and this also helps with your gut health. And one of the testimonials that we have seen come out with this is a reduction of symptoms of perimenopause. So whether you realize it or not, people all around you are going through the change. And I had no idea until I read this article that it actually can start as early as 35 and can go up to 55. So I was thinking like 50 it maybe started, or maybe mid 40s or something. I'm going to be 40 this year. I'm probably already going through menopause. One of the things that is not just hot flashes, perimenopause rage. You can ask my kids. I don't know, like the last month and a half or two, I will like scream at them like a crazy person, and to the point that like I hurt my throat. I'm like, what is going on here? What is happening? I feel like I'm losing my mind. I thought it was just that they were crazy, but it turns out maybe I am going through premenopause. I don't have a uterus anymore. I've had 3 surgeries between the stomach, and I had my gallbladder taken out, and I had a hysterectomy. All of this is pre-plexus. I swear, I feel like if I had known about plexus, I would have really tried that before resorting to removing things from my body. Anytime the doctors always say, oh, you don't need your gallbladder, or you don't need your stomach, you need to lose weight, we'll just take it out, we'll make you a small one. You don't need your uterus, it's fine. When I had my uterus taken out, that's when all the poops hit. And I think it had to do with my gut kind of affecting different areas of my body. Anytime something was sick, I would take it out and it would just attack a new area. So I had my stomach surgery, took the stomach out, it attacked my gallbladder. I had to, the following year, have my gallbladder taken out. And then after I had my last child, I was so full of fibroids. My body had been attacked for however many years, and I was loaded with fibroids, and I just was like, just take it out. And every single time I've taken something out of my body, I have missed it. That is the truth. I don't say things that aren't true. So what if this could change everything? That question is what I am posing to you guys right now. So I'm going to stop sharing. That was the information that I had prepared for you guys tonight. If you guys have any questions, please unmute yourself, and I'm here to field any questions that you guys might have. Also, Randy's on here. Randy, maybe you want to say hi. Randy is my direct up, or not my direct upline. She's like one up from me. But love Randy, and I've learned a lot from her. So I don't know, Randy, did you have anything that you want to add?
Well, I was just noticing that I don't have as short of a temper with my kids. I'm like, oh, they're acting bad. How cute. From like the Microbiome, and my kids are crazy. Like they're right up there, like jumping off the walls. And then I have a newborn. And so I just said I was tired all the time from having a newborn, and that's why I thought they were crazy. And now I give my husband a Microbiome, and I give myself one, because I was like, look, it reduces stress and anxiety. I need that, So I've noticed that I don't get like as brought to the level with them from being home all day with them, that they will drive you absolutely batty. So I feel like that's getting into more control.
That's awesome. Anybody else? Has anybody started using the Vital Biome? Oh, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording now. All right. Thanks for joining us.